new construction versus resale. Let's talk about it. So when it comes to buying new construction or a resale property, there are pros and cons to both of those. So I wanted to share what the pros and cons are, and then also go over some tips depending on which one you choose to help you along the way. So ultimately you can decide which is best for you. So let's start first talking about the pros of new construction. Number one is going to be your customizable options. Now this is going to be dependent on the builder you choose, right? You have some builders who build first and sell second, like Lennar and D.R. Horton. Then you have other builders where you can have a design studio appointment, come in, put your finishing touches on there, have some minor structural upgrades done, and really make it feel your own. And then you have the very top level where it's going to be a complete custom build. You can customize literally everything. So obviously the more you go up that tier, generally it's going to be more expensive, right? But you have to find out what kind of customization you want in your home, and ultimately that will help you to pick the best builder for you. Now I am constantly in these new construction homes. I have a very good feel and know what these builders offer aesthetic wise, incentive wise, and all of that information. So feel free to reach out to me anytime and I can help you choose the best builder for you as well. And obviously we have to touch on the fact that new construction is new, right? Everything is new and shiny. It hasn't been used before, and everything is yours. You're the original owner, and that can be a great option. Now going with that, you won't really have any replacement costs because everything is brand new. Now, obviously some anomalies can happen, right? But the normal is everything is functioning well and you won't have to replace it for a long time. Now going with that is going to be your energy consumption. A lot of these model homes, when you come into them, you'll see a plaque that talks about their energy certification, and it has come a long way. So whether you care about more green as far as having more money in your pocket, or you want to just go green and have a cleaner environment, new construction is almost always going to be the better option. Now let's talk about mortgage financing. When it comes to new construction, this easily wins every time. You have some of these builders who are offering some amazing incentives. The best I've seen was 3.5% by Mattamy Homes. Looks like that just ended, but what they did is they had 3.5% for year one, 4.5% for year two, and then years 3 through 30 was 5.5%. So that was fantastic. You also have Pulte Homes right now offering 4.99% interest rate, which is fantastic. And then I personally think the best winner right now is D.R. Horton, because in some of their communities, they're offering 5.5% interest rate plus up to $15,000 to $18,000 in your closing costs. So you actually get both. So D.R. Horton is definitely winning, in my opinion, as far as incentives go. So here's another tip that not a lot of people think about. So you're gonna buy your new construction home, you're gonna think everything is gonna be functioning properly, which for the most part it always does, right? But if you wanna be extra safe, you can hire a third-party inspector to come in there, take a look at everything, and then give you a different opinion versus just the builders alone. So if you want ultimate peace of mind, getting a home inspection done on a new build construction property can definitely be helpful. Okay, so let's start talking about the cons of new construction. Easily, I think the biggest one is going to be build time. So depending on how custom you want the home, usually that build time is going to be longer, anywhere between 6 to 18 months, depending on the builder you choose. Now the sweet spot here is usually about that 8 to 10 month range, and some of these new construction companies will have quick move-in homes available as well. So with quick move-ins, that's when you're going to get the best incentives traditionally, because the builders want to be able to get rid of that and move on to the next build, right? So quick move-in homes can be a great option. And also sometimes you can walk into a home and see a quick move-in and you're like, hey, I actually like the finishes. This is exactly what I would have chosen here. And I love the home, I love the area, and there's not much inventory. So I'll go ahead and take this one. And even if I want to make a little bit of changes down the road, I can do that. But I really want to be right here in this area. I'm talking about you, Claremont. I know so many people want to move here and there's not much inventory here new construction wise. Things are starting to open up, which is great. I know at KB at the Sanctuary has just opened up a good amount of inventory that's available as well there. So feel free to reach out again anytime. And then some of you might be thinking about moving here in a year or two. I think it's a great idea for us to still have that conversation today, and that way we can find out what builder you want and line it up and see how it can match your timeline. So some of you might need need to reach out a bit sooner than you actually think, I'm always available. Feel free to reach out anytime. Also, new construction is typically going to be more expensive than resale homes, right? So this isn't across the board. You have some sellers who will list their price of their home pretty high for a very sought after established neighborhood, but typically new construction will be more expensive. Now, with the incentives in buying the interest rates down, right, that these builders are offering, what that can actually do is kind of level out that playing field as well. Because if you go buy a resale home, you're stuck with the high interest rates we have right now. As of filming this video, we're almost at 7%, so we're 6.75% right now. So if you weigh out the incentives, spend more money on a new construction home and weigh out those incentives and closing cost coverage, you're gonna be pretty close and balance that out, and could even be cheaper than buying a resale home, especially if you get one of those interest rates in the 4.99% range. So it's always good to weigh out those options as well. Another con to new construction is going to be the overall noise level. So if you get in at phase 1, which I always recommend, that's when you're gonna typically get the best pricing in a new construction community. You're gonna have to grow with the neighborhood, right? So you're gonna be constantly hearing trucks backing up, and if you work from home, that can be pretty distracting, so just keep that in mind. Also, you're not gonna have as much mature landscaping as a neighborhood that's already been established, so you're gonna again have to grow with the neighborhood. Sometimes the pool won't be fully complete, sometimes the fitness center won't be done, sometimes the sidewalks aren't fully completed. So I do think the pro of that far outweighs the con, because you're getting in at a better price point, and eventually, just stay patient, that neighborhood will be fully established and you'll be good to go. So let's switch gears now and start talking about the pros of buying a resale property. I think easily number 1 is going to be immediate move-in. We find the property that you like, and then within 14 to 30 days, we can close on the property and the property is yours. So you won't have any construction delays to worry about, and you can already get a great feel for the neighborhood. What I mean by that is there'll be no surprises, right? The neighborhood's already established. So if you visit that neighborhood in the morning, visit that neighborhood at night as well, and see, hey, at nighttime, are there a lot of cars parked in the street? Does that bother you? Maybe it doesn't bother you. So you'll already be able to get a good feel for the neighborhood since it's already established. And also there'll be a lot more mature landscaping, and everything should just stay the way it is, so you know what you're getting into. Another pro is going to be charm and character. Now, when I say those words, instantly Celebration comes to mind. The charm and character here in Celebration is just pretty much unbeatable. But if you're looking for a home not as cookie cutter or a box builder, as some would say, which I don't really feel like new construction companies here in Central Florida do that, because they have a lot of different elevations and floor plans you can choose from. But if you're looking for something with a bit more charm and character, resale is going to be probably the best option to go, unless you're going to be able to go into Oakland Park, which is amazing neighborhood here in Winter Garden. I feel like they've blended charm and character of resale, but put that into new construction, and this neighborhood is just absolutely gorgeous. So another pro to buying resale property is the pricing should be lower than new construction. Now, I mentioned earlier, this isn't across the board. You have some sellers who will list the property high and you'll see that it's sitting on the market. So going with that, a great thing to look at is days on market. How long has this property been on the market? Typically, once we pass that 14-day mark, the popularity in that listing has gone way down. So now the seller doesn't get as many showings. They might be getting a little bit nervous, especially when we go from 14 to 30 days, 30 to 60 days. Then the seller might be pretty nervous and thinking, oh man, I really need to get this home sold. Because if you're a buyer, sometimes you look at that and you're like, why is this home sitting on the market for 60 days? Maybe something's wrong with it. I'd rather probably just go see this home that was just listed 3 days ago. So that does happen. Now, another good thing to look at is when we're looking at these properties, does the seller have furniture in the home or is it vacant? If it's vacant, depending on the seller's financial situation, sometimes they're paying 2 mortgages and we can just get a better deal. So that's when my negotiation skills will come into play and get you the best pricing and terms for you and your family. So now let's start talking about the cons of resale. One of the biggest ones is going to be outdated floor plans. So if you're looking for an open concept floor plan, depending on when the home was built, that might not be an option. You might have to look at taking down walls if you can, infrastructure wise, right? Obviously, that can also play another factor, is just not knowing what you can do in this resale home to make it your own. So you may need to renovate in order to modernize. And going with that is just going to be the overall replacement cost of things in the home, right? You have things like air conditioning, putting in new floors, replacing the kitchen cabinets, those costs can start to add up. So depending on when the home was built, you may have to do some upkeep to make sure everything is running as intended. So if you're not too handy, you don't want to put in any sweat equity, so to speak, then new construction might be a better option for you. So another con is there's only one of these properties available versus new construction, right? The builder will have a good amount of lots. You can pick your home site, put your floor plan on there, and then the waiting process starts. With this resale home, there's only one of them available in this neighborhood. So if it's priced correctly, it's in a desirable neighborhood, we can run into where multiple buyers want this home and there's several offers on the property. So I do have ways that I can make your offer look way more attractive to the seller. So if you find the home you love and you're like, Benny, no matter what, I want this home, we'll talk about how we can make that offer look much more attractive to the seller. So are you a new construction person or a resale person? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you're thinking about moving here to the area within 1 week, 1 month, or 1 year, it doesn't matter. Don't be shy. Feel free to reach out anytime. And until then, I will see you in the next video.